but I feel like that also means somehow that paradoxically that they won't. You know, like it's that classic thing. This I feel like I should change my prediction now, and then they'll get stomped or something. So
no, I was gonna say that. You were allowed one time yesterday, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. It's a knife to the head.
I don't want to turn out like that guy.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's
cool.
pretty extra because there's like blood all behind him. You know, like the knife would either they shot the dude posthumously or knifed him after.
Maybe
all in all, little overkill. So look at this, right? Pistol round underway. Look at Heroic go, man. Like the red arrows soaring in through mid. It's the Danes up through short side. And now in towards this B bomb site. But, oh, the USPs, quick response. They get a man into jungle, but he's now kind of trapped behind enemy lines. How much usage are they going to be able to get out of Borup in this position? Especially if he ends up being one of the last players alive, which seems to be the case now. Actually, it is just Nico left in the server. He was over towards short. And man, Heroic just got melted. They ran into that looking confident, like they had an idea, like they had a plan, and everything got uprooted once those guns started firing.
It's really cool from MIBR that they play they play positionally like that, where they're just holding that line, allowing window to go to the T's and just playing those really passive defensive angles, trying to position themselves to play retake, but then just shutting down every angle. That's beautiful. You don't often see the CT pistol like that, and we get the tech pause. Wow, okay, so like winning the CT pistol is so huge on this map. It really is. You can get so much momentum off of it because unlike some of the other maps, you don't have nearly as many options as you do on a map like Mirage to take the initiative. You can do all sorts of business on this map, and you can even condition the Ts. You can, for example, if you really want, you can put a lot of emphasis on mid control. You can put a lot of emphasis on controlling the extremities around the map. Put pushes at the beginning and try to create a scenario where you create a statement that the T's have to play slower to try to make sure they don't get caught out, or they have to play really fast and commit somewhere and gamble somewhere and not play their default style to try to exploit what you're doing if they think that you have a tendency to pressure one part of the map. So there's like all sorts of stuff you can do to control the mindset of the T's, and that's just such a fun position to be in that MIBR have at the as long as they can convert this anti-force buy or eco.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, the sad part for me about this Mirage, obviously, this has been the longest map that we've had now in the map pool of being new. We had the old Mirage the first year or two, obviously. So I think you're right. I think that the replies from T's is very much, we see a lot of teams just going for the, AXX, for example, again and again, throwing in maybe a connector push in between it. I don't know. I feel like it's just... it's a very boring map, in my opinion. I think you kind of see the same kind of tendencies. There's not a lot of flexibility on the map. It's just a lot of just individual play. Even with the change that they did in mid, I would say that it did create a little bit more flexibility of like how you want to do, getting up in window by yourself and stuff like that. So I think that definitely did help. It was a very small change that I think did a lot for the map itself. But I would love to see some more changes on this, and maybe even a new map in the map pool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Soon, I think. I think it's coming.
Yeah, it feels like it's time.
Yeah, I think
beyond time.
Yeah, I mean 2 years with Vertigo, right? Come March. I actually think it wouldn't surprise me if we do get another map coming into a major.
Ooh.
Yeah, but
see,
no insights though, so just guessing.
Yeah, like it just feels odd because I feel like before I think either it would have to be a map that we haven't seen yet, like an entirely new creation, or modify one of the existing maps that we've had in rotations in like operations gone by. I know some people are pro adding cash back in. I don't want to do that. I don't want to make it the thing where you just put the same, like a reskinned version of an old map. And I don't really like new cache, if I'm being honest. It feels like it emphasizes some of the things that, oh, hang on a minute. I'll hold this thought. I'll hold this thought because we have a real skirmish in the apartments with these SMGs.
So
oh my God! They're running in with the enemy, man. Look at that, pack animals, they just charged them down, and Heroic hear all the footsteps, but they're like, yeah, there's loads of us here. Wait, hang on, no, hang on. Oh, that's brutal.
Like everyone is running in, and we're like, what just happened? That was such a quick, yeah, that was a nice round there as well. I mean, obviously, Danico here puts himself in a position, he gets the one, but like you said, I'm sure that they hear the footsteps. I'm sure it's a little bit confusing at the same time because they're really literally just behind you. 3 on the board here. Good start again from MIBR, and this is now they're on the CT side, but this is good of a start that you want, especially on a map like Mirage, allows for the economy. You don't even have any essential bonus weapons, just the FAMAS here, so if one guy dies, could be a quick upgrade for just Yell to get an AWP. Bit of a execute here with ecos and some nades, some deagles and stuff like that. Not going to work out, but they do get 2 kills for it, but we know that MIBR has a lot of money, and I was going to say, probably expecting Yell to be picking up the AWP here, considering he died. And we have the first weapon round now on our hands.
Well, it's a good start for the Brazilians once again. And Heroic, they got to find that footing. Now we get a ramp aggression coming from MIBR, the old 2-man ramp setup. This is a really great way to defend if you're anticipating some kind of A set piece, because you're able to kind of slow them down at the choke point, maybe get a pick, and then you have all the space to fall back. You can stagger their push. However, we will get the reset here from Heroic back into a late mid take. Pretty popular on a lot of maps. It's a delayed mid take. I think Robin was making the point earlier. You can just come in after the initial kind of nades. Just makes it easier. Less players as well to defend that position.
Yeah, and this is where I'm not a fan of like the mid-rounds on Mirage, because I think that taking these spots, there's so many spots here as well, just the multiple crossfires, you just have to waste so much utility just to get some initial map presence. It was a B stack here for MIBR, 3 towards that area. Yell was there with an AWP trying to get a kill, but he's falling back now though. I love this. I was going to say, we do tend to see this a little bit. It's a connector split. But good positioning here, though, coming in from MIBR. As I say that, it does get close. 1-on-2 situation now for Cadian. Picked up on flash, which is going to help him a little bit, at least to cross. Should be going down here, though, to bolts from the connector area. Oh, no, he misses.
Oh, no. They've given him a little bit of room. You don't want to give Cadian room. Oh, it's still close. And he gets the first, the immediate swing back in from Yell. That was a necessity. And the fact that he's having to do it with the USP, like you can imagine how anxious that would make you trying to lock in that trade, because you know if you whiff even a few of those shots, man, you're done, and you ain't recovering mentally from getting 1v2'd like that. Man, that was close, and a really good effort from Cadian, right, to dodge the fights, very aware of, you know, where he could afford to be and at what timings. But I think even he knows, I think it dawns on him, like, once I flick the stairs, I am just a dead man. You know, if they play this right, there shouldn't be a way that he gets away with it. And that's why you see him go for, like, the jump and turn, just trying to do anything to dodge those USP shots.
And here we have more pressure mid at the beginning of this next round. Heroic. It's going to be tough, though. You know, Yell's got this angle. They have to use a lot of utility. It's kind of like what Robin was saying. That's the thing with mid and Mirage. You've got to use a lot of utility and all at once, but we'll get into that thought later on, as we'll have a boost into the window. Yell seems to be quite cognizant of the possibility. Throws a nades. Got to be careful he doesn't get pushed. Cello as well. So much tension here. Players in smokes. Oh, Storm gets the kill. That pulls Cello away from connector. Oh my god, Storm is just such a beast. He's done so much for Heroic in these.
Yeah, but you can tell there as well, right? In terms of positioning, that's great. And this is really how you win rounds from Mirage on some occasions of, you know, just someone landing a nice shot, you fork up the rotation a little bit. Cello goes down. MIBR had good positioning, but obviously with Yell going down the way he did, forced people to get a move on here instead. And this is Heroic getting the Bay bomb site. It's going to be for free now as well, with Bolts and Danico saving their weapons.
Yeah, it's going back to the midpoint. You know, you have the duration of a smoke basically, or 1 or 2 smokes to get the control as well as put players in position. to do something and maybe rotate out. Like it's a small window of time where you have to do a lot of things as a tease, and it can be quite a juggle to get it into a place where it works out for you. And I feel like, you know, that round as well, like you know, so many things have to happen. You know, you have to, you know, win that first fight, Storm, which pulls the player off connector, and even if Storm loses that next fight, you know, Cello's still in a position afterward where he's left connector open, and that space that the T's can gain. So it's still like a big win for the T side, and it's still a difficult situation to be in for MIBR.
Yeah, you talk about the timing there, Dan. Exactly like you're saying. Stavin jumped up in mid there while the first smoke was still up. So you still have that timing of the smoke is fading at a reasonable time. You still have a lot of work to play with as well, of potentially getting some entries while your other mates are, you know, taking over the normal side of the mid area.
Indeed, it's all about timing. Timing gets you position.
See, another double boost here from Heroic. Like I said, they like to do this. We've seen that probably out of all the teams so far, Heroic has been utilizing these double boosts with Cadian the most.
Ooh, and the mid creep.
Yeah, they get mid for free here. Just slow and steady. As we see MIBR gambling on the B bomb site this time around. Looking like Yellow might be pushing into the B apartments area. But it looks to be very much identical of the same round the Heroic's been doing 2 times in a row now. Worked out once for them. It worked out the second time. And that's nice. I mean, I think Heroic does a really good job on choking out the MIBR players here. I think one of the things that I saw that FaZe started doing a little bit more was that when they noticed that teams got mid control, they tried to take A ramp control instead to kind of try and get an escape instead of just getting stuck on the bomb sites the way that we kind of saw MIBR just do. You are very much stuck once they come up in A ramp, connector, and potentially in pallet at the same time.
Oh no!
Oh dear.
That's unfortunate. 25 seconds left now. 2-on-2. Bomb still not planted though.
So very, very winnable position. Another tray, 1-for-1. Yeah, I would have liked to have been in a 2v1, but of course he, well, we won't talk about it. Cadian faking the plant there. He only has so much time to do that, obviously. Now, likely be forced to go for the plant. He won't have time to fake it again, and that's information Yell knows. We can creep forward. Cadian with the jump spot there. Doesn't realize how close Yell has become in his position, and he's going to manage to easily win the clutch. Nice timing from Yell. And
he's showing his teammates.
Yeah, he's sorry.
He's real sorry.
I'm so sorry, Bolts.
I hope it would have been cool if he had one of the sprays that says sorry. You know, like there's one that says that. Yeah, or easy, or easy.
Just BM your teammates instead.
Yeah, but that's good, man. I feel like, you know, it's important that you win a round like that, because you don't want that to get into your head. Like, you know, you win it, and now you can kind of laugh it off, like, ha ha ha, oh, I team killed you. Whereas if that's a lost round because of the team kill, that's where it's like, ooh, you know, that shouldn't.
That. Yeah.
Unless
it's just,
he's a sociopath and he has no guilt or shame or anything.
Yeah,
like
right.
Well, fine.
Yeah, man, maybe. That would be interesting, right? The dynamics of working with someone like that in the team, where they just don't care either way.
Connector smoke from I think that was from B maybe, but that's a CT smoking connector there. Works just a one way at the same time. That's what I was talking. Look at where Cello is at the moment. It's super aggressive. Has full control of the A ramp area.
Nice adaptation. It's kind of exactly what you're talking about. If you expect the surge, the majority of the players to come through mid, and there's only maybe one lurk here, you get one of those. That's fantastic. Does that change the plan for Heroic though? Do they want to go up to B now? Well, I look like they were investigating that opportunity, but Yell's picked off Tessus. Now it's desperation. They've only got cap positioning, so they have to go to B. Good trade from Cadian. Borup and Connector, they're split up at the moment. Which way will they go? Maybe off of the next pick. But at this point, look at the positioning from MIBR. They don't have to even give them anything. There's no peek. They can allow them to take the site. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, just Cello's position here is so hard to deal with, especially when you have SHZ in the CT spawn as well, mopping it up. even if he goes down, just a guaranteed kill, I feel like, from Cello on the back.
Man, the level of Counter-Strike has improved so much over the. I mean, year
People
to
have
year.
just gotten smarter, you know.
It's
And
just-
same thing with even coaches coming into play. You know, like people talking a little bit more about like the small mistakes. I think that there's more tools now as well to kind of increase or decrease, I guess, the skill gap between the teams. I know that Refrag, for example, that's on the ESA right now, is a really cool program for the people who haven't seen. We also obviously, you know, Skybox and Shadow.gg. There's so many different kind of tools right now to help teams improve a little bit faster. Before, it used to only have, you know, the demo watching, and it was a little bit repetitive, especially with the CSGO client being the way it is. It was
Yeah, I mean,
it took a lot of time to watch demos, you know.
Yeah, but I can only imagine, right? Because we are kind of blessed, as you say, with like the number of tools that we have. Like, if you want something where it is like, you know, based around like the mini map and like heat maps and stuff, there's tools for that. You know, if you want like specifics in the server, like running teams executes against you, there's tools for that. It is very, very cool, the amount of stuff that we have, and I can't imagine how painful it was back in the day where it was just demo viewer time, you know, 6 hours to rewind the clip, everything just taking forever. But look at this, man. This round isn't taking forever. This is kind of breezed on by. I hope they'd have some time to just chat first. But now the bomb's down. We're into a 2-on-2. Heroic trying to get their second round. Yeah, back here in CT. Vanico over at the stairs gets double swung from sight. Now he at least knows where both players are, but that's only info for Yell. Now he's got to win fights with that info. And he spots one man behind the stack. There's the peak on his drop. And so Heroic get that second. The fast A play works wonders.
Yeah, that's a change of pace. We've obviously seen Heroic again and again kind of opt for this mid presence. Do a change of pace and going towards an A execute instead. Like to see that. Obviously comes in the hands of Cello being aggressive in A ramp the round previously. I'd like to see Heroic kind of keep pushing the A boundaries here a little bit. Even if you do a regular default first, you take over mid, you can always fall back, but Heroic seems to have other idea in mind.
Wow. Picked straight away there in the Palace position. Cadian gets one as well. This was a terrible buy from MIBR. They really didn't have too much money to work with.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused about the buy as well. We talk about utility a lot. Sure, could be said maybe Mirage less important than a map like Inferno, for example, but nonetheless, you definitely don't want to come in empty-handed.
Yeah, it didn't really feel. I mean, MIBR so far as a team that we've seen opt for in those situations where it's like we can't get a full buy, we can get a couple of crappy buys. It seems like they like to get a couple of crappy buys as opposed to spending a round just saving. And
I think that could be damaging at the same time, because I think, for example, with that old LDLC lineup that always won ecos, I think it got to a point where, again, we talk about force bias, right? But I think it gets to a point where it's kind of damaging because you know that you have a good % chance of winning the force bias, but at the same time, if you're not winning them, then it's just like, wouldn't it just be better to play weapon rounds that you know for a fact that you have stuff that works? So when it works, it's great, and you're called a genius for it. When it doesn't work, unfortunately, you get the opposite treatment instead. But yeah, like you pointed out, would probably prefer the MIBR eco instead. But now instead, kind of maybe allowing Heroic back into this game. Had a great start, very much the same on Inferno, their CT side. T side rather. This should be a relatively easy round for Heroic. No armors, USPs, and just a P250 on bolts. Dig on SHZ, but he's over at the A area. We know that Heroic is walking their way up to Cat right now. Oh!
Nice shot. And that's going to be another one.
Yeah, and they picked the right spot. They came from Cat, which means that they cleared the boost on site. Had they come from B apartments, would have been a higher % chance that they wouldn't have cleared that area. But yeah, man, that's been, what is it, 4 rounds in a row now for Heroic, or is it just 3? But their money just all of a sudden got increasingly better. Still a good buy here for MIBR. We just won't see an AWP on Yell. As we know, he's been very active this series so far. I'm very good with it. Back to the mid defaults here from Heroic. A little bit more faster this time around. Maybe also knowing or maybe expecting that MIBR won't be able to afford an AWP, so feel a little bit easier to maybe take the mid control with just the one smoke and one flashbang. And we haven't seen, outside of the cello aggressive play, we actually haven't seen MIBR play aggressive at all. They've really much hold their sights, done some good calls in terms of reads. Haven't been overly aggressive in taking map control. Little palace play here from Heroic. This might come back to haunt MIBR. This is the first time we see that. As I say, the cello, 2 nice kills there from him. 4-on-3 situation now, causing Heroic to kind of just stop for a second. Cadian can't go out by himself. He has the bomb by himself, waiting really for Tessus here to make a play.
Oh no, he shot. This is wild, man. They have Tessus trapped. There it is, right? Finally, they swing onto him. So it is just Cadian left in this 1v3. Bombs down at the very, very least. That gives him a little more stake in this one. He's got the AWP as well. All these players coming from mid and jungle. Flash is real good. Cadian's blinded from it, and this now leaves him staring into the wall, waiting for the push. Missed shot the first time around. Oh, through the smoke, he does claim the life of one. Bomb ticking away. Cadian still wasting time. This is expert use of the clock, but the nade out. Oh my word! And it looks like he's done it. Somehow, some way, Cadian wins that round. 5 on the board for Heroic, and Cadian nades in his hands. Oh, I don't know how on earth he's gotten away with it, but he has. And look at the smile on his face.
Oh man, yeah. Even the webcam has a hard time even catching up. You know, he's so happy. That's bonkers round. Cadian has been in these situations, I think, 3 times so far this half. Being really put to the test. First one that actually goes this way, though. 1 versus 3. That was a nice play. I mean, like I said, they try with a palace push. As soon as this 2 Heroic members goes down, Cadian just waits for Tessus. I think maybe it was Nico left there in mid. And then obviously MIBR leaves the A bomb site completely empty, allowing Cadian to just plant the bomb there by himself, puts him in this position. And what happens there? I don't understand. Is there no bullets left?
I don't know, man. Maybe best to just move on.
Yeah, I think everything about that was just fucked beyond belief, man. And I think that's all you can really leave it as. And yet Cadian somehow like emerges from that looking like a genius, even though he shouldn't have. Man, that was weird. And like, that's a pretty grisly way if you're MIBR to give that up. You know, you're 3v1. Really, even the bomb plant seemed like it was impressive enough. The fact that he goes on to win the round is just nuts. And that 1 saved M4 is already out, mate. Look, Heroic are brimming with confidence now. They're thinking, mate, we just won that 1v3. There's nothing we can't win.
Yeah, and even cello there getting caught off guard. He does, maybe not on purpose to get the lead scoreline. He gets caught off guard, gets instant tapped by Heroic as well on a fast A play.
Yeah, I'm wondering. It's kind of interesting when you see this much confidence suddenly to start for a team, and Heroic are getting all the positions that they need to kind of get their players into position to frag out, and that's really encouraging. And that's like half the battle if you're the CT side. When the opponents obviously are trying to make their way into these fragging scenarios, you're looking to do everything that you can to make it as difficult and as awkward as possible, and to make as many questionable decisions as possible, because, you know, using your flashes, your smokes, you know, finding ways to delay them as they come in. But right now it feels like Heroic are able to take full advantage, just moving in, gliding effortlessly through these bomb sites.
Can we see the scoreboard here, DJ? See if he hears me. There we go. Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, we had a really good start here from MIBR. Heroic wins the 1 round in between, but outside of that, you know, like, you're very dominant here at the end. Starting to get more bomb plants as well here.
They're keeping the pace high as well, you know, it's really working for them. Oh, Nico's beyond that smoke. They have no idea. It's dangerous. Dawn also in a great position. I feel nervous for MIBR right now.
They're gonna choke out Yell here. They're gonna do the same thing, obviously, in the smoke here, because the fact that Nico is in such an aggressive position. the one guy that needs to figure out where he is Yell, and once that happens, I actually think that we're going to see probably a quick connector play here. But the smoke fades and he misses the shot. There's some information at least there on the hands of MIBR, but didn't get as much as they wanted to. That's a nice shot. Cello as well shuts it. Where was that? Shuts it down somewhere. Looks to be in mid as well in the connector area.
I like this from MIBR because just as I had been describing, Heroic have been looking really confident, but to a certain extent they've been allowed to set themselves up to have their confident runs through to the bomb sites. But here we actually had a spot where Heroic had to pause in mid, and during that pause, MIBR, they're not saying let's play more passive, they're saying let's find opportunities to get aggressive and to challenge before Heroic get onto a site. With that said, as I'm talking about that, let's say Storm is on a confident run there, able to take a couple extra kills, which is nice. But we're moving into the last round here, and actually those couple kills might be quite annoying here. Are we going to get full utility? We'll have to see in a moment. But here's Cello, and just that double kill, and that was exactly the same time as Yell gets that mid pick as well. So.
And that's really the timing that Heroic really wanted to do the aggressive play, but MIBR times it back on him. Just because they were the ones to make the move first. Gives them a small advantage. 8-6 now, last round of the half. And it was MIBR win, but utility here is not looking great for the last round. And Heroic obviously has had a lot of money. And slow and steady, we haven't seen this from Heroic before either. Just taking their time here. Hoping that maybe Cadian gets a kill. And we've seen this again and again from MIBR, opting a little bit more towards the 3, towards B. That's a nice entry though for Cadian. Gets bolts, but then all of a sudden it gets flipped back into a 4-on-3 now. He has the lead spot Stanico, so they do have control of the truck, but that's about it. There's still 2 MIBR members here on this B bomb site ready to fight for it.
Oh, well, no, not for long, actually, as it turns out. There's now just one, and it's Cello with another one of these smoke hides, man. He loves doing this, does Cello. Now, will he get away with murder again? Making a murderer, this is it? No, okay, it's actually Cadian to snuff him out, no problem. So 8-7 there at the end of that first half of play. We're split right down the middle. We're 3 maps deep, and a winner, a clear winner, is still not in sight. If you want to find out who takes this series, join us in just a moment after the break.
We're back. Last half of the series. An even one at that. 8-7 in favor of MIBR, swapping over to this T side now. We saw them yesterday or 2 days ago versus FaZe. Had a good T side performance, so we'll see if they can replicate that versus Heroic. Different team though. Heroic, very good at the moment. It's a fast B play here though.
There it is, Cadian doing what he can. A quick double is nice before they even get onto the site. Always what you want to see. Borup in the pillar position, trying to see if he can just delay, but he can't. The issue is forced. Tessus now forcing the issue himself. Out the window, out into the open arms of 3 loving MIBR players, and they will have everything they want. The second pistol in this map will be won by MIBR. They've been pretty good at, I think they've converted the second round, I think, every time in this series, I feel like, too. So they're doing a great job on the pistols, and it really creates an uphill struggle for Heroic, constantly having to come back.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about that when you said that. I wonder if they lost 1. But it's still been pretty solid, I'd say. And a bit of a difference. We kind of see this buy from Heroic on Train, for example, with the 2 scouts and 3 weapons. But Mirage is a very long map as well, so definitely 2 scouts work here also. Pick the pistols, put the pistols a little bit closer in, get a tag on the scout, and then you just have the 1 deagle shot to finish them off.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, you know, no one really knows what's happening right about now, but if I had to guess, things are looking good for MIBR.
So they just moved now. So we're still alive. It's 5-on-4. Heroic did get the entry onto Danico. And looks like MIBR is going to be moving back towards A or B apartments, rather. As I say that, though, it looks like they're going mid instead. But that's a great little start of the round here from Heroic, just because it's a caster curse from Dan again. He said he doesn't. MIBR hasn't lost a lot of these rounds. And obviously, as we say that, again, there's another tag from Cadian onto Yell. So we have 2 MIBR members low now. One shotable with pistols. Very tough spot to be in now, I'd say, from Heroic. Or rather from MIBR.
It's a little bit awkward, isn't it? They've got players down through middle. They've got Yell up on Cat, and they are trying to get up in through connector. Okay, that's made life a lot easier now. Some pressure removed. There is still this under Palace player who currently was doing a pretty good job. Cello with the response. And it's music to our ears, but he's left in the 1v2. And Heroic with the ramp flank should have that locked in. Man, they snatch it away. Down with the caster's curse. It's all here, man. We got it all, CS Summit.
Chile has, what was that, like 160 ADR I saw there? That's not bad.
Yeah, I think I missed that. But yeah, it makes sense. 20 kills to his name. He's been, in terms of just crispy and you have no idea what happened, like Cello has definitely been crispy in this series. We've seen a lot of even not expecting him, top right, like really quick headshots from him. He's had some nice rounds to his name as well in this series. But yeah, at least there's a bomb plant, and just because of that, Dan does ends up jinxing it, but it's another rebuy though from MIBR.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in plan for this round. Looks like it might be a delayed mid-take, and they do have 4 smokes at the moment, so they have enough smokes to do that. It's scary. I'm trying to figure out, what would be the best way for them to approach this round. Just the 2 AKs.
Yeah, and the one thing I guess for Heroic is that they don't have a lot of information on the map of where MIBR might be, so I was kind of expecting Silent to be peeking mid a little bit. Timing might be there, but they've walked up connector now. Yeah, he might have spotted them actually, or might just been a play on the side, but that's a nice spray down here from Nico. MIBR was not expecting that position there.
Yeah, nice retake positions overall from Heroic to really just hedge their bets as best as possible in this round. And Bolt's looking to do some damage. I feel like, he really wants to play for max damage here and see what else he can do to the economy. Like having every Heroic player, or 4 at this point, surviving. It's not really acceptable if you're MIBR and you want to keep that pressure on, limit the options of your opponent. Bolt's trying to get someone to peek him, trying to bait a peek there, but nothing doing. And at this point, he's starting to worry about those flank timings, but Heroic are just sitting on the bomb.
Yeah, and 7 seconds here. Going to be saving that IK. We know that they have no money anyway, so it's going to be a save for MIBR. So it might be some damage to be done here from Bolts. We might buy because of that as well, obviously. 2K on this across the board from MIBR, so sure, we can get some pistols and stuff like that, but just to kind of reset and get to the same spot again. Yeah, we see it again here now. First guy, actually, Cello does end up peeking it, but Nico, nice little shot right off the bat and gets the 3 kill. Makes it a 9-9 now. And MIBR actually does not end up buying for the Bolt's AK, just some P250s and 2 flashbangs, hoping to maybe just explode over to that B-bomb side here.
That is a brutal nade, isn't it? They try and go on the back of it, but they are the walking wounded already. Oh, the utility gets worse. How does it get worse from that? The nade does so much, and then the molly to follow up. And now Borum's waiting, man. He's rubbing his hands together thinking, well, everyone else has had a little go of the action. Let me have my turn. And they actually leave him. They actually leave him out completely. So sad moment for Borup, right? Was getting ready for his big spray down. Not giving it, of course. MIBR taking it nice and slowly. But with just this one AK to fall back on, you know, you can't really expect too much to come of it. Let's see what they do get away with. They try to pressure mid. They spot the players at Cat. They know that there's a lot of bodies here in middle. But for MIBR, something tells me they're not thinking about winning this round anymore. At the very, very least, you know you force players into mid. You've just seen 2 on Catwalk. It's this aggro in the top mid that spots the bomb. That I hope just forces it to go back into B. Honestly, B is their best shot at this point in time. Like, you've actually got only one player inside of the site. And with them not winning that fight, yeah, it's all said and done. It's all clean for Heroic. If they get that kill, you know, maybe you get a bomb plant at least. I don't think you were ever going to win that round in the 2-on-4, 2-on-5 rather, but, you know, they had an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Well, I was just going to ask the question, did they over-invest at all? You know, I see that they went down to, I think, 1,700 on some players.
They had 2K to begin with, so that's why I was a little bit confused as to, like, the buy that they did, because Bolt's obviously with $350, so, like, you can make the argument there of if we just want to get reset. Obviously, this round here as well, we're probably just going to be seeing Bolts with a pistol and utility. Yeah, trying to work, well, I guess, trying to buy something to help out the AK in that round. Didn't work out, though. Yeah, I mean, that nade, and then just as soon as Borup spots the one guy here, we see Stavin's super quick on the utility to help out. So is Cadian. Yeah, not much you can do there. Really
it's
just
a bad feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it stops the rush at the same time, right? Because you didn't buy, you know, if you were spending some money, you could have bought a smoke potentially. Used it for extinguishing the molly, but didn't happen.
So light on nades here because of some of the previous expenditures. But either way, ooh, that mid-aggression. Storm out there in the open is isolated away from his teammates. Cadian unable to help him with that org. Nice to see the org. So this is a good start for MIBR. They get an initial pick. However, look at what... oh man, they've got no position on the map. And they've got an HE and a flashbang. No smokes left, no Molotovs. An HE and a flash. So they're going to have to, like, find a way to group up and attack a position. If they decide to, you know, kill the clock like this, you could try and, with your experience, understand what are the most likely CT rotations when the CTs don't have info. Because the CTs on Mirage are more likely than other maps to go for info. We see Nico's might be doing that right here, pushing Palace, trying to see if he can find anything. Ooh, got to be careful with the QQ there, but Bolts is hidden still. Will Nico check this position? How deep is he going to go? And there we go, Balls. That's a beautiful kill. They waited for an info play, and there it is. Yeah,
man. Not a spot that maybe you tend to see people in, so makes sense for that not to be cleared. But that's 2 entries here. Makes it a 5-on-3, and still a little bit dangerous. As we talked about, there's not a lot of utility, and there is an AUG at least on Cadian. But they're both situated over at the B-bomb site. It's really only Tessus that's holding a very defensive angle here. Is CT spawn by Ticket. This should be an MIBR round, but never say never. There you go. Gets the read now as well, though, from Bolts. He gets the first, but yeah, here we go. Now it's just all up to Tessus. Not going to happen. A lot of money, though, on the board for Heroic. And that's really best case from MIBR. To Dan's point here, I am actually surprised to see 4 AK buys and just really Bolts buying utility. When you have such low money, you tend to normally see maybe 2 pistol buys there and 2 sets of utilities with the 3 AKs. But I think based on the information play here, obviously, from Nico being a man down already, sealed that round.
Oh, it's down with the jump up to Catwalk. Very mobile with the AWPs here at Cat. Well, sooner than MIBR might be ready for, but there is already a man out in mid behind the boxes. It's down, gets his kill, and now he can get out of there, right? Now that you can actually concede mid pretty happily in the 5-on-4 if you're Heroic. You need to keep fighting for it. Danico sneaking his way through this con smoke. The rest of MIBR going back towards the A site, and those standard, you know, set piece smokes going over into the jungle. Danico hoping to use this almost like a kind of corridor, right, to only have to worry about fighting one angle at once, and that was jungle, but sadly he doesn't manage to get the kill. And so, you know, that's a neat little idea to set Danico up to go aggressive, but it hasn't really worked for MIBR. And now that they've spent so long getting this ready, there's actually 5 players, or there were 5 players inside of that A site for Heroic. So MIBR make the right call to rotate away. They go back towards B, but it's not like plain sailing at the B bomb site now. Heroic have had plenty of time to reshuffle these players around. And essentially, it's like MIBR are kind of just starting this round over again, but in a 3-on-5.
It's funny that we saw that run, and you mentioned as well, Harry. Heroic didn't have anyone towards B, and now that we think about all 3 maps, MIBR hasn't done a lot of fakes. They've been really going to kind of where they've been showing themselves. So with them doing that execute and showing themselves a little bit on towards A, that's when you saw all 5 Heroic members just leaving the B bombs a little bit. It's not going to be a winnable round here for SHZ. He does get 1 kill though after the round is over. And yeah,
struggle bus is real.
Yeah, I mean, and even look at the money, the way that it's situated, right? That we have Yell at 2K, we have Danico at 3K, we have 3 guys with good money. So yeah, I mean, Yell is just forced to be on a pistol here. Danico's going to find himself in a very similar situation.
Yeah, they've artificially kept their money in just bad spots. Like not seeing more AWP for Yell it's really a shame.
Yeah, it's also concerning as well, right? Like especially Yell is obviously a very stable opper. You want to try and get him on that as much as you can.
Ooh, you just mentioned how he hadn't really seen many fakes. It looked like that was the essence behind this play is feigning all this B aggression, right? I was thinking when they were throwing that flashbang over, that is a very early flash, you know? It's not going to get there in time to help anyone sprinting in. And they drop that smoke, they throw the flashes to peel attention out of the catwalk and out of away from window to allow this boost to come in. So, you know, it's not like a big misdirection in like taking the bomb B and then going, that's brutal. It's not like they've misdirected in terms of, like taking the bomb somewhere and then going somewhere else, but they have used misdirection to get a player boosted into window without Heroic knowing about it. So let's see if Cello's able to get anything done from here. With Cadian back in CT, he's being a real nuisance to these comm players, and the aggression at ramp drops the bomb. So yeah, it's a nice idea, right, to get Cello into this position, and he is the one man to get a kill for MIBR, but it hasn't really done much in the grand scheme of the round. He's probably just a dead man walking here in mid, and there it is for Cadian. He'll put 12 on the board for Heroic.
That call to nade connector was so awesome because at that point, especially with the kill, you just have all the information in the world. Like that was their suspicion. That kill confirms it. That's what they were trying to do. And they had such insanely good positions as well, like a really favorable right eye angle taken on the A ramp as well. So any lurks there is just not going to be successful. It's really hurting MIBR that they haven't had an AWP on Yell. Like this is one of the things we just haven't seen because they've crippled their own money. They've made decisions whereby Yell cannot afford to get an AWP. They've had spots where they haven't had full nades on their full buys and play as a player on a pistol and all these kinds of things. Like,
yeah, normally you would make that argument on the CT side, not on the T side, because T side you can always just save, and especially in a situation like this, I feel like you should probably know at this point that you're probably not looking to reset Heroic. Obviously, they don't have a lot of money, but at the same time, we always want to obviously try and focus on ourselves, especially when we realize that these low buys aren't really necessarily working.
Ooh, that's fast. That's speedy. Oh, but yeah, that's the thing. Heroic might have given with one hand, they're taking with the other, and there's Tessez really locking it in, really driving home the victory. Oh, he's even looking for more. And poor old Yell, man. He's not going to be ready for this, surely. And here it is, the lock-in 13-10 in favor of Heroic. You got the reinvestment looming for the side of MIBR. That's the thing, we're getting a real good game out of Cello. We really, really are. You can see why they emphasize being, having him be that player boosted into window in the round before last. I don't know, man. I don't know how you fix this for MIBR. I don't know what the problem is to really, be able to even theorize any kind of solution here. Heroic have just come alive. They're setting each other up really well. The reads have been there. You mentioned how MIBR haven't really been faking. They haven't really conditioned Heroic at all on this T side. And so it does feel like a real uphill battle right now. Cello, one man who maybe could make a difference, is already out of the round. And there's even more where that came from. That's brutal, man. It's already over before it's even begun at this B site. Cadian even wrapping in through lower just to seal the deal. And this is Heroic really kicking things up a gear, right? Getting comfortable, eyeing up the victory, eyeing up a pretty long and hard-fought victory at that. So, you know, just a couple away from doing it. And once again, breaking the money of MIBR is certainly going to help them on their way.
Yeah, I would love to see just an A execute here from MIBR. I don't think we've seen that many of them. And to your point, right, I think that defaults that they've been trying to run has not been working out. They haven't really been very successful at that. It's 14-10, and it's a half buy. Now MIBR chooses to do that, obviously. Again, going for the potential overtime then. Cello ended up buying, though, for 450. It's a bit of a weird wonky bias here coming in.
Again, I don't think we're going to see AWPs, are we?
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, that might also be intentional, right? Like we talk about some certain maps not, you know, being AWP friendly, and maybe for MIBR, Mirage is one of those maps. But because of that as well, if they're not going to have, you know, an AWP here now, like I said, I would love to just see a set execute. The defaults here hasn't really been working, so even if you don't go all 5 together and just like a ramp or whatever, I would love to at least see something. Let's do something together before we lose entries and stuff like that.
Have they won any rounds except, you know, the pistol and like one of the other, like one buy rounds?
I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, you are right. It's really weird because I can't, like, there's so many few weapon rounds that you can really talk about, like the amount of like full utility, and to your point, right, even an AWP, right, like even if you would make the argument of 5 AKs with full utility, hasn't really been the case that many times. There was a timeout called here now though, so if MIBR were to figure things out, this would be the time to do so. And also just another note here as well, obviously, if MIBR ends up losing this round, they are not out of the tournament. They're still part of the last chance qualifier. Takes place tomorrow. Heroic will be proceeding over to the playoffs right away with a win here.
And Yell's gone glass cannon AWP, and with the how slow they've wanted to play rounds on their default, the fact that they have lax nades and the AWP is, you know, it's not good. And beautiful, beautiful spot there from Yell. Actually catches Cadian going really aggressive with your better angle for Yell. Cadian not expecting that. And that's a great way to start off the round. It may be Heroic doubling down, though, in their mid-efforts, because they still have presence here. Storm is still on the peak, has to fall back to the flash. Tess is close on the connector. He's going to swing for this one. Oh, we can't get the frag. That's huge. Although there is the nade follow-up from Storm from Cat to finish off the weakened SHC. Still the battle over mid here, and MIBR, they don't have to commit into mid at this point. They have a 4 versus 3. They could always reset out of mid if they wanted to, given how much time is on the clock. Yeah,
and that was a nice setup there. We talked about Yell with the AWP. He gets the first 2 kills here. No armor still, Glasscan hasn't lost an ounce of life yet though. We'll see, it's very slow and steady. Bolts is still just holding this A push potential. But based on the fact that he's not moving, it is looking very likely that they're going to try and get their way into connector, but they have not spotted Borup. Just gets the 1 though. Still a 3-on-2 situation with really only Stavin here. And the timing, obviously.
I thought you would have seen him there, but oh, there we go. He goes back for it. And now pushing the smoke. Tess says, that's it, man. They get it done. Heroic take it over the line. And yeah, for MIBR, that's such a shame, right? That looked like it was shaping up to be their round. But instead, what ends up happening is, you know, they get caught by Borup in the lower tunnels. Then when they're focused on Stown, Tesses is allowed to smoke push. And he does to them what Cello had been doing to Heroic all throughout that series, it felt like, with those smoke walks to take that series for the Danes. MIBR, you know, it's a hard-fought battle, and it's one that they do well on, you know, already improving over their initial series versus Heroic on the first day. So that's always good, right? We like to see improvement, and I think MIBR, for a lot of people, might have exceeded expectations already, looking like they were able to contest a team like Heroic.
Yeah. Oh, ears muted, Robin.
Yeah, I noticed that. I agree with that 100%. I don't know what I was expecting with MIBR coming into this, obviously, with the new team at all, but they've definitely surprised, right? A win against FaZe, even though they haven't been 110%, but even taking a map off Heroic here, making it competitive. As I said, they're obviously still part of the last chance qualifier, so they're not done with the event yet. I think we're going to jump to a quick commercial break, and we'll be back. We should have an interview with Heroic.